All right, so it looks like we are live on air. So I'm going to see. Hopefully we are. And I don't think there's anybody with me. I think I only have Dave with me, which is pretty cool. I'm glad Dave is around because I don't think we have anybody else coming on, which is okay. You know, like I said, this is a 4:30 slot. I figured why not? Let's try it out, and we'll see who shows up. So we'll see. We'll see who's going on. So. All right, so it looks like we are live. Okay, so I'll shut that down. I'll do my little pop-out chat dealio, if I can find it. Then we'll start talking about the what the chat is really about. And oh wow, look, Mateo's here, man. Appreciate you stopping by, Mateo. By the way, I just want to ask you guys, those of you who are here right now, how does the microphone sound? I had to switch back to my old mic because this Rode mic it doesn't work. It keeps stalling out on me, so I'm gonna have to, I think, sell it and then get something better. But good audio, great, man. So I'm using my old Blue Yeti microphone, and it's not a bad mic, but my only problem is that a lot of times it gets a lot of background noise, which kind of sucks. But it's texting me right now. Okay, so basically right now I think there's just Dave and Mateo in, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I just put this background up too, so I'm kind of excited about it. And Mateo, if you don't mind, just let me know if you hear a lot of echo, because I can always adjust the gain on the microphone. But like I said, I have my earphones in just to be able to gauge it, but it's hard sometimes. I don't know if it's echoing too much. But I did this new background. I have another one coming in, which I think I'm going to like a little bit better, but it just only cost me, I think $20. So that's the new background. So apparently Mateo just put another S40 on layaway. Boy, he is a Steyr addict, and that's pretty cool. So I appreciate that, man. I do. I don't know how many people are going to watch today. I'm sure everybody is busy right now. We have 9 viewers, but you can see on the title of the video, I said, is the Second Amendment doomed? And I am definitely not one of those believers that this amendment is going to die without a fight. I'm certainly not one of the believers that thinks that the amendment is going to be gone. But, and Doug Floyd, what's up? He's from good old MS. So I hope I get my abbreviations right. And that's, I believe that's Mississippi, I hope. And yeah, and he's saying here he believes that the Second Amendment will be doomed when guys and gals like us are dead and gone. And I think that's where my concern is that, you're seeing these little overreaches, and these overreaches are getting more and more direct. You saw what happened in Deerfield. You're seeing, what happened in Massachusetts, where the federal judge threw out the court or threw out the case from the court, saying that it really was not a constitutional issue. Apparently, people in Massachusetts brought up a lawsuit against the state, saying that their ban of assault rifles, I'll put the quotes up, but the banning of assault rifles and, of course, the use of high cap mags was unconstitutional. So apparently a federal court judge decided against that, and he threw the court case out. And I find that that's kind of interesting, because, you have your federal judges now who are saying that, these talks about semi-autos and high cap mags are not protected under the Second Amendment. And I really am getting very nervous about it, from the simple standpoint that, they keep saying what's not protected by the Second Amendment. And I think it's getting worse and worse for us, because, there is really no definitive, well, then what is protected by the Second Amendment? And they keep overreaching on these semi-autos and the high cap mags and this, and that. And then you go to a place like Deerfield, where they just randomly said, hey, guess what? 60 days, you need to get rid of your semi-automatic weapons, all of them, guns, pistols, rifles, shotguns. And you either need to sell them, or you need to get them over state lines, or because they're not welcome in here anymore. And I think that's even more, not only is that such an overreach of power, but how does that not speak out against this idea of your constitutional right to own a firearm? And now, of course, with what the federal judge said in Massachusetts, by them claiming that it's not protected by the Second Amendment, what does that really mean for us in the future in regards to taking them to court? Again, you saw, the man down, and I can't remember, was it North Carolina, the African-American man who made that wonderful speech? And again, if you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend taking a look at that. He talks about we are the majority, gun owners, the people who are law-abiding citizens. We're actually the majority who has now been talked about and basically categorized as criminals. And, for me, honestly, that really resonated with me, what he was saying, because I think we have at this point really adopted this image that has been painted by the people trying to take our rights. But I think it's people who have been trying to say, hey, you know what? You guys are criminals and you guys are bad people. And I think the more people that reach or say it out loud that, well, wait a second, time out. We're not criminals. We're, law-abiding citizens who have a right to protect ourselves and our homes. And it's not for you to determine what we have that right to protect our homes and houses and loved ones with. If I want to use a high capacity magazine in my handgun, I have every right to do that. I'm not going to commit a crime. And I think until we really start rallying behind that idea that instead of being labeled as criminals and labeled as an extreme element in the United States, I think we're going to continue to have this problem. So I'm going to just do a quick roll call here, fellas. And again, at any time, if the microphone sounds like trash, let me know, please, because I had to get rid of the Rode mic. It's just not functioning. I don't know what the deal is with, and I want to see if this one works the entire thing. And if it does, then we obviously can narrow it down to being a microphone issue. And if that's the case, I may have to replace it. So I'm using my old Blue Yeti. So I'm just going to say hello to everybody. So we got Dave Gass here, Mateo, how you doing? Steve Worth, Doug Floyd, Frank Hellman, how you doing, buddy? Let's see, Logan White, how you doing? I think that's about it. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be too many people. Jen's Life 09. Oh, well, hello. Welcome. Thank you for showing up for the live stream. I don't get many female followers, which is kind of interesting. Maybe it's the bald head. I don't know. But do appreciate you stopping by. This is a place where we can talk about guns and just freedoms and, what we're kind of, frightened of losing at this point. Bald and Curious, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you here, fellow New Yorker. James Schmidt, thumbs up. Wow, my first thumbs up. I appreciate that. NKS is here. How you doing, buddy? So basically, I think the concern right now for all of the law-abiding gun owners of America are the facts that are coming out now. You have these direct attacks, which are absolute infringements. And the one thing that I haven't been able to understand with the whole Deerfield thing is they're threatening confiscation and $1,000 a day fine. But, if you're forcing somebody to get rid of their firearm, and if they confiscate it, then why are they not talking about potentially some sort of payment to the people you're confiscating their items from? Because the government can't just go in and confiscate without any kind of real monetary compensation, so to speak. So, I mean, if you're going to go in and confiscate these guns, then you're going to have to pay up for them, and you're going to have to give fair market value on those. So I don't see anybody talking about that either. I mean, if you're going to come and confiscate my stuff, then you're damn right. You're going to be paying me for every single thing that I have. And that has not been mentioned. It's just flat out confiscation, flat out fine for $1,000 a day, or you need to remove them and get them out of town. So I just think it's crazy. I think what's happening right now is we have this movement in the nation that is trying to categorize an entire group of people in the nation as lawbreakers, as people who are untrustworthy, that guns are the key issue to all evils in society. But if that was the case, we'd be having mass shootings every single day. And, again, look what happened in Germany. Just, I believe last night in Germany or this morning, somebody took a truck and plowed into a whole group of people. And again, they're still investigating it. And I haven't read anything about that yet. But, that happened. Look at London. London, where there are no guns, has a higher murder rate than New York City does right now. In one day, just one single day, London had 7 different stabbings in one day. And, for me to sit here and say that that has something to do with guns, well, okay, great. So you want to ban guns, ban knives, ban trucks, ban everything else, because apparently we just are killing everybody with every kind of tool that we could use. So, if you can't explain to me how that is not been effective in the rest of the world, but you're going to somehow try to say that it's effective here, well, then you're out of your mind. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. So I just buffered for a split second. Yeah, I'm assuming that's going to happen. I know that there's some buffering issues with this. Mateo saying that because the libs are getting bold and beginning to show their true colors. You know, Mateo, to be honest with you, I don't even think it's the liberals. I think it's everybody. I think it's liberals. I think it's, you know, supposed conservatives, supposed Republicans. You know, I don't see many people talking in politics who are supposedly on our side. You know, I think what's even more alarming, and again, I don't pay attention to everything the NRA does, but even with the NRA is fairly silent right now on a lot of these things. And for them to continually ask for money, but yet remain so quiet and aloof about this, I find that even more disturbing. Let's see. Yeah, KS is saying ban people. Yep, we're going to be banning people. We're going to replace them all with robots soon anyway. So that's all good. Androids or whatever. Keith Gregory, people will do harm with or without firearms. You're absolutely right. This is a nature thing, man. Some people are just naturally prone to violent behavior. Some people are prone to hurting others. And until you can control the nature of certain individuals, you're not going to control them harming others. You're absolutely correct. Let's see. No, Logan, I did not hear about the semi crash that killed 14 hockey players. I did not hear that. Were they college players, professional players, high school? I'm not sure. Mateo saying that Glasgow, Scotland has walk-by stabbings so the UK can go F itself. Yeah, I mean, look what's happening, you know, in Europe, I think is a good sign. Oh, yeah, we're going to ban all your guns to make everybody safe. But then, oh, but we're going to just stab you in the street. That's great. Absolutely great. And then, Frank, you're absolutely 100% correct that banning guns is a lot easier than resolving the actual problems, which actually is funny you say that because it just goes to show you how bad the problems really are, because banning guns isn't going to be that easy. It's just not. You know, how do you account for the, 200 million firearms that are in the nation already? You know, so yeah, I mean, it's scary to think that there are worse problems or difficult problems to handle than just banning firearms. But yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely 100%. And then Doug Floyd is saying, yes, sir, because I worked my ass off for what I have. And he earned, yeah, me too. You know, nobody's ever given me any of these guns that I own. I've put in a lot of hours in my life to go and work my tail off. And there's no way people are coming and taking that. Sorry, not happening. Double wide Texas Pride. How you doing? I love the name, by the way. Public schools teach that guns are bad. The kids are being brainwashed. Yeah, I agree. You know, I think to an extent, you definitely have to worry about what's being taught. I think that there are some people in public schools who are aware of that and do their best to try to counter that effort. But to be honest with you, if you look at public schools carefully, there's a lot of technology in there in these schools now that are being directed by Google. Great example, New York State was given a bunch of money, and our beloved governor, Andrew Cuomo, also appointed as his head tech guy for education, the second in command of Google. And you can see how that was able to go in there and manipulate young people. I mean, it's this is not anything that's new. This has been done for centuries, if not longer than that. Let's see. Oh, Canadian junior hockey players. No, that's too bad, man. I hope, man, I feel bad for their families. So if you guys are religious, say a prayer for those poor guys and those families, definitely. Let's see what else is going on here. More murders in London than New York, and there are no guns in London. Yep, exactly. And of course, their mayor has not said a word, and he was forced the other day to say something, which is interesting. Again, the human mind is the most dangerous weapon on the planet. Absolutely. Let's see. I carry my revolver. How you doing, buddy? Banning mine damn sure won't be easy. It'll take a lot of body bag. Shooting with Uncle Dan. Yeah, and that's another question that's also being raised, is if you go for a full-blown confiscation, which of course they're all saying, oh no, we don't want to confiscate your guns, but we just want to confiscate every gun we don't like. The question is, how are you going to get those guns? Do you really? I mean, I guarantee there will be people who will walk them in and say, yep, absolutely. But I guarantee there's going to be a lot more people saying, nope, not happening. And my hope is that law enforcement would not enforce these unjust laws, because they are. You know, I've seen a lot of comments about, well, why do you need this type of gun, or why do you need that type of gun? Well, why not? I mean, what has happened where I can't own what I want when I have no intent to do harm with it? And, even in what's going on in Deerfield, with that confiscation of firearms, all semi-autos, whether it's rifles, shotguns, or pistols, all semi-autos have to go bye-bye. And I think the worst part of that is that there has been no court of law that has ruled against any of these people that they're unfit to own firearms. There has not been any judge that has ruled them incompetent or adjudicated them as mentally insane or whatever it might be that would warrant any government to take those firearms away from them, let alone a bunch of, half-time idiots who know nothing about firearms. So I think that's kind of scary. And then Bald and Curious is saying King Cuomo wants a 10-day wait period on all gun sales. Yeah, and that's another worry. You're seeing all these other areas right now that are passing these things. You have federal courts that are denying cases to be heard. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is where it gets worse for everybody. For too long, I'll be honest with you guys, for too long, when they were initially pushing that bump stock ban, there were a lot of people out there in YouTube and the gun world or whatever you want to call it, saying, no, we want to keep our bump stocks. But I guarantee you, if you had a room of 100 people, maybe 2 or 3 of them had bump stocks. The rest of us probably never had them, don't really care about them because we know just how useless they are. And then the idea was, well, if they start with the bump stock, then they're going to take everything else. Where have you guys been? I mean, this has been going on for years. They have used certain states as test cases to see how far they could push this. Look at California, look at New York, look at Massachusetts, look at Maryland. All of these states are test cases for all of you. And if you don't think it's coming your way, you better wake up, folks, and you better start rallying yourselves, because you don't want to be in the situation that New York is in, where it's just going to get worse. You don't want to be in the situation of California. And you know what, guys? You got to somehow band together in your states, and you've got to rally around each other. Stop with this chest pounding bull crap about, well, they're going to take my bump stock away. They're not going to take your bump stock away. They're going to take every damn gun you own away. So you better make sure you guys rally yourselves and you start standing up for what you believe in. You don't got to go crazy. You don't got to be violent about it. But we need people like that guy who spoke out to the city council. We need people like him who are going to come out and say, you are trying to categorize us as criminals who don't deserve to have the simple right to protect ourselves on how we see fit. And until we start rallying behind that idea, we're all going to be screwed. I'm telling you now. And again, Keith is saying they want to ban guns slowly, then in the next generation will be disarmed. And yeah, I agree with that. I think that as the younger generations get more unexposed to firearms, you're going to see that more resistance to it. But, I guess as long as they're eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms, I think that's great. Let's see. I carry my revolver in single action. Is Mark Robinson the black man who stood up in front of the city council? If so, I did see that. It was excellent. Excellent speech. James Rowe, state by state, South Carolina wants to secede from the union in the start of season guns. Yeah, that'll be the 3rd time they've tried to do it. Yeah. And now we have another, and maybe Bald and Curious can help me, but there's a lady from that stupid show, Sex and the City, who's running for governor. She's a Democrat, and she's running for governor right now in New York State. And right now we have Cuomo, her, and a Republican. I don't see him winning, but it would be nice if we could get rid of Cuomo. And definitely, I don't want that chick in office. She's just a disaster, absolute disaster. She had this big meeting and was talking about how she wants to make New York State a sanctuary state for everyone. And I mean, no offense, guys. I know a lot of people, want to turn this into a race issue. And, oh, how dare you say that? Then you're a racist. I'm a brown guy and I'm a Hispanic, and I don't want sanctuary status for New York State. So I'm not a racist. I'm just simply saying I'm tired of working my tail off to pay high taxes for everybody else here. So she's definitely not getting my vote. Let's see. Organizing rallies on our respective state capitals. I agree. I think that's a great idea. I think we need to do something that's going to, push us to the forefront in a way that makes sense. Double wide Texas Pride. They want to silence the defenseless. This is all part of the plan to destroy the middle class and make the population stupid and docile for the ruling class. That's already been happening, my friend. That's already been happening. Let's see. Which one? Wasn't there like 4 women on Sex and the City? Yeah, there was. She had the short hair. I think she was the redhead. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name, but she was short. She had short red hair, I think. I never watched the show, but I know what she looks like. And she's got the short red hair, and I cannot remember her name. It's not Sarah Jessica Parker or whatever her face is. And it's not the one lady who was like in some of the like 1980s films. I forget what her Kim Cattrall, I think is her name. It's the other one. Let's see. Andrew Roche is saying, because of our indifference, we are starting to reap what our inaction has sown. And yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I think also where we totally took a misstep was we only looked at one issue. You know, everybody got their dander up when they took bump stocks. And no offense, I don't have a bump stock. I don't want one. If you guys want one, great, keep them. I just think they're totally stupid and a waste of time. But I think a lot of people were focused so much on that, but they weren't looking at the big picture of things. And so as a result, you know, I think we're in a situation. And let's see. Let's see. And then Shooting with Uncle Dan is asking, ain't I Dwayne Johnson? No, I'm not The Rock, man. I'm not. I wish I was. I'd be rich, very rich. And I have some movies out. But no, I'm not. I'm not him. Cynthia Nixon, that's the one. Yeah, she's a disaster, absolute train wreck. If she ever became governor of New York, it would be worse than having the guy we have right now. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Music saying she shot a Glock 34, shot nicely, but Glock knuckle. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. Let's see. Looks like him. Am I right? I don't look like The Rock. I look better than The Rock. Much more muscular. Yeah, sure. You know, it's funny. Guns. Have I been looking at any guns lately? I actually was. I actually held a Gen 5 Glock 19 last night, and you know, I've held them before, but I was tempted. I got tempted. I've been tempted by Glock again, but I've resisted. I've resisted that temptation right now, and so you know, I haven't really looked at them since then. Frank Hellman is saying, good thing Cuomo will be president. Yeah, no, that is definitely not going to be happening, Frank. If you guys are smart, you will never vote for that guy. Never. I mean, talk about corrupt and just absolute. That's all I can say about it. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. No, I'm not going to the Glock side. No. And neither should you, music. There's too many great options out there. For example, the M&Ps. The CZs. There you go. What else I got to? Oh, I got this one too. I haven't really done anything with this one yet, but yeah, too many good options besides Glock. I still haven't gone back. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, somebody's calling me. That's my wife. My wife is calling me. I don't know what she wants. I just said no. I don't want to talk to you. Let's see. Double Wide Texas Pride saying he's never owned a Glock until this month, and now he has 3. Yeah, the Glocks can be addictive. That's for sure. I mean, I've had several 19s, a couple of 17s, a 26, and you know, I go back and forth. Sometimes I keep them, but for the most part, I wind up selling them. I mean, that to me is one of the most sellable handguns. I just never seem to want to necessarily stick with it. I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, I did see Big J buying that long slide 17. I mean, that's a lot of slide for a gun. I'm not exactly sure. Like, is it a competition gun? I've never seen one of those before, so I don't really know. You know, I know I don't care. You know. If you like it, me personally, I don't care for it. I just, you know, there's too many good guns right now to focus on Glock, in my opinion. And it's funny because, you know, I was definitely going to be checking out that 19X. As a matter of fact, I have a call into Glock right now. Not really a call, but an email. And I want to know what is the price on the blue label, because if I can get a good price on that 19X, I might consider it, but I haven't decided. I'm just not sure where I want to go yet. Not sure yet. And yeah, I had a Vickers Glock like KS. I like the Vickers Glock. I'd like to see them come out with Gen 4 Vickers. That's my opinion. Just because I like having that back strap. James, I did answer the wife's call with a text telling her, don't talk to me. And then I just texted her back really quick because I know she'd not be happy with that. Let's see. Yeah, I still like my CZs. You know, it's interesting because for me, the CZ, it's kind of, you know, I haven't really been carrying the P10 all that much. You know, it's kind of just sitting in the safe doing absolutely nothing. And I don't know, man. I love it. I think it's a great gun, but it just doesn't see a lot of light of day. It's weird like that. We're living in, I mean, as in crappy times as we're having right now with the Second Amendment and the fight against guns, we really are living in some pretty awesome times as well for the amount of firearms that are available. And they're all pretty good. So I think we have kind of that double-edged sword going right now. Jen's Life is saying what she likes about the Glocks is that I can work on them. My CZs, SIGs, and 1911s are a little bit more than I can comfortably handle. I totally agree with that. I will tell you that the Glocks are just stupid simple, and I'm not trying to say anybody's stupid about it, but they're just crazy, crazy simple to work on, whether it's triggers, whether it's anything really. I would tell you that working on the M&Ps are just as easy. I have to tell you, I've really been happy with how easy these are to do trigger jobs on and everything else. So I would definitely recommend looking into those if you're interested. And even switching out the trigger on the CZ was fairly straightforward, fairly simple. You know, the striker spring, all that other stuff, it's pretty straightforward. Anytime you get into a more complicated gun with a hammer and all that other stuff, yeah, I could definitely see you being uncomfortable with it. I know I am at times, but sometimes you just jump into it and then see what happens. So, you know, let's see what else. I saw music ask me a question. Let me go back. Let me go back there. For sure. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. How often do I get to shoot? I like to go at least 3 to 4 times a month when I'm working. If I have some time when I'm not working or when things are slower, then, you know, I'd like to go twice a week. But unfortunately, with the lack of ammo sponsorship, it's definitely an expensive hobby. So I just try to buy as much ammo as I can. And that's why I always say, you know, people say, well, what kind of ammo do you use? I use whatever the hell's cheap. I'm not going to lie. I'm a cheap bastard when it comes to ammunition. I'm not a fan of white box. I know some people like it, but you know, for me, I just try to go with whatever I can find. So I go to Walmart. I know a lot of people are anti-Walmart right now, but I go to Walmart a lot and I pick up their, you know, 100 rounds for $20. It's the Federal Red Box. And I just try to buy them often so that I have a bulk and then I can go and shoot. And then a lot of times I'll go and I'll shoot maybe 2 to 3 different handguns in one outing and spend maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours shooting because, you know, I got kids and a wife, and sometimes that doesn't allow for a lot of time at the range, you know. Let's see. NC Civil War. Really like my American flag Glock that I got rid of. Yeah, you know, you know what? I liked it too, but I really have found that I've started to move really away from Glock in general. And again, it's not necessarily anything anti-Glock, because I know a lot of people right away, you know, they pucker up saying, oh yeah, you don't like Glocks. I don't have any problems with Glocks. I've owned lots of them. I shoot them well. I like carrying them, but I just felt that for me, I have found that the guns that I really am absolutely just completely fond of are these M&Ps. I just really like them. I just think they fit my hands really well. They're comfortable to shoot. They're fairly accurate for, I think, anybody really. So I've really just moved away from Glocks. How long will that last? Who knows? I don't know. I probably will get one at another point. I've been looking at a few. I've been looking at the Glock 17s again because I just like the grip better on the 17. Which is why I'm looking at a 19X. But again, I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. I'll be honest with you. Mateo saying I need to stop racially profiling the white box. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. James Rowe, the clocked striker safety spring on the ZC10 is the bear to replace it if it comes loose. James, I think you need to retype that, sir. And Doug is saying he loves his Glocks, but there are a lot of great guns. Yeah, I mean, there really are. Like right now, I'm very satisfied with every gun that I own. And there's just not a heck of a lot out there right now. Excuse me. You know, so for me, it doesn't really make sense to jump on something just to jump on it. I don't have that kind of disposable cash to do that often. So So the next thing I buy is going to be a purchase that is a wise purchase. And then carry my revolver saying a Bond Arms Derringer. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Little tiny guys. You know, it's funny. I've actually been pocket carrying my Shield 2.0, which is kind of interesting. I love that gun. It's a really good gun. I actually just installed the Apex trigger on it this week. And it's pretty nice. Nice 4-pound pull. Nice and crisp. Really, if they would just get it straight with and get rid of that lever on that trigger, man, that hinge, I think everybody would absolutely agree it's the best gun. Maybe. Doug Floyd, Smith & Wesson Apex bread and butter. You're absolutely correct. You know, both of mine, the Compact has the Apex, and the 4¼ inch has the Apex as well. And now the Shield has it. And I couldn't be any happier. Just fantastic triggers. It just makes the gun even better overall. Harry, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you here. Music is saying, my next pistol, I want a longer barrel. Well, I know Big Johnson has that 17L. Maybe you should buy that. I mean, that thing is like a rifle. That thing looked like a friggin' rifle. That's how long that barrel was on that damn thing. Let's see. The PCR, yeah, you know, Firearms 101, the PCR is a nice gun. You know, I will tell you that the slide on that thing is a pain in the ass to rack. It is so tight with the spring that it takes quite a bit to rack that slide. But it's a nice gun. I mean, you know, you can get it with the decocker or with the safety, but I definitely like definitely like the PCR. It's a heavy little guy, but it's definitely nice. From Massachusetts, see you later, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. Shooting Uncle Dan, he's asking me if I'm a cop. No comment, Uncle Dan. I don't tell people what I do for a living. And then Big J is saying he ain't never gonna sell it. Yeah, well, you know, we'll see. We will see. Let's see. Shooting Uncle Dan says he wants to buy it. Doug Floyd saying he works at Walmart. He gets a 10% discount on ammo. He loves it. Gonna use it till they take that. Yep. I wish I had that, man. But even, you know, even with the ammo prices, they're not that bad at Walmart. I mean, for $20, it's really like $18 and change. And then with the taxes, about $20, but you can get 100 rounds for that. And like I said, if you just take $20, maybe a week, $20, you know, every 3 days, and you just buy yourself some ammo and you leave it and set it to the side, by the time you know it, you're going to have a good amount of ammo to go and shoot. And that's sort of how I do it, you know. Dave Gass, he says, put the Strike Industry MP +2 mag extension on the 7-round magazine on my Shield 2.0 9mm. Now 9+1, 10 rounds in Massachusetts maximum. So nice to upgrade. I may have to take a look at that. Yeah, Harry's saying I'm a transporter. Just look at his shaved head. It should tell the whole story. Yeah. I drive an Audi. I do. I'm a transporter. It's funny. It's funny stuff. NC Civil War saying he's so pissed at Deerfield. Decision sucks. It absolutely does suck. And I think that opens the door for a lot of other places to go now and push it. And that's my worry, is that we're going to see a domino effect. And I hope we don't. But I get a feeling that that's where we're going to go with this. And it's going to take a lot of vigilance on our part to keep on fighting the good fight and not give up. I'm a stunt double for The Rock. Yeah, I must be like the smaller version of The Rock. Commentary saying, please read the dissent from Judge. All right, I will do that. I will definitely do that. EMP +2, $19 with shipping. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right, I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, Big J is always jealous of my Jason Statham look. Yeah, that must be it. And that boy's got some hair on his head, boy. That's for sure. I think he wears a wig, though. It's got to be a wig. He's got a wig going on there. So, yeah, he's got a wig. Let's see. So what do you guys want to talk about? I'm going to just throw it out to you. You tell me what you guys want to talk about. We're going to talk about it. I had my little run for about half hour. And then we'll see what you guys want to open the floor with. So if you got any questions, please ask. If you have anything you want to talk about, write it up there. Let's see. And shooting with Uncle Dan is Big J has hair like a Greek god. All right, that's getting a little weird, Uncle Dan. Not gonna lie. Music saying wig for sure, toupee. Yeah, it could be a toupee, a really, really good one. And then Compton Terry is saying the overwhelming majority of citizens who own and use such rifles do so for lawful purpose. That is all that is needed for citizens to have a right under the Second Amendment to keep such weapons. I agree. I agree. What's on the wall behind you? That's my shower curtain. I just got a new shower curtain. So it's a new background. I want to do something different because the lighting in this room is always a problem for me when I'm, doing like stuff like this. So I wanted something to absorb more of the lighting. So I still have my flags up. It's behind it. But that yellow Gadsden flag, it was playing havoc with the lighting. So I went with something a little bit flatter. And I got something else coming in, but I'm going to see how that works and just go from there. Lighting is the biggest key. If you guys ever want to make videos or whatever, if any of you haven't done that already, I would highly recommend just first look at good lighting. My lighting sucks. I got a couple of chicken incubating lights. That's what I use. It's so funny. They're just hanging up all over the place. And then right here, I have this little ring. But yeah, my lighting sucks. Oh my gosh, we have royalty in the room. It's Honest Outlaw Reviews. Hello, sir. So yeah, again, and this is for everybody out there. If you have not subscribed to any of the channels of the people in the side chat, a lot of them have really great channels, and you really should consider subscribing to them because, like I said, we support each other by watching each other's videos and giving good insight and good comments and just something to build on, which I think is always helpful. At least I believe that. Are they 60-watt bulbs? No, these are like LED bulbs. I don't know what the wattage is, though. But the problem is they're not dimmable, so you really just have to play with the angles. And then I built like these, I don't know, these panels that go over them to kind of dull in the lighting a little bit. So, but yeah, lighting is always a key to it. If you get good lighting, I think you'll be fine if you guys want to make videos. And then sound, which as you can tell, I'm using the different mic today because the other mic is no good, no bueno. And then Compton is saying what I said earlier. Massachusetts District Court ruled that assault weapons are not covered by the Second Amendment. Yeah, that was something I brought up and saying how crazy that is when they do stuff like that. But that's where it's beginning. And I think that's where we need to be very, very cautious and more importantly, very vigilant and use a message that actually is a smart message, not one that goes on these rants and these rampages about, it just has to be done in a way that makes sense. And honestly, after watching that speech from the gentleman who said, hey, you know what? I'm not a criminal. I'm the majority. I think he said it so beautifully that we could use that as our rallying cry. And he's absolutely right that we are the majority. We're not criminals and we don't have any intent to break the law. And until then, they have no right taking and basically strong arming us with the threats of jail and fines and everything else. And I just think if we do not stand up to that, then we're going to lose big time. Fit and Fire, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Mateo said he stopped flying the flag and started flying the Gadsden flag instead. Yep. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, sir. Let's see. Music says she hates the term assault weapons, how they twist the meaning of words. Right. Well, they have to make it dangerous, like, for example, if you stab somebody, it's no longer a knife, it's an assault knife, But, you go to see just how twisted everything is. And I'm going to give you a great example. The other day in New York City, there was a man who was running around basically flashing something in people's faces and pointing it at them. Multiple phone calls came in, to 911 saying that it was a man pointing a gun in people's faces and going after people with a gun, blah, 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 blah. So the cops arrive on scene and, they show him on footage. He's basically going like this to people's faces. And it looks like a piece of metal or some sort of stainless steel firearm. And sure enough, it was a pipe. But nonetheless, you can't tell that. So he wound up running down the street and going like that to police officers. Well, the police officers opened up and they shot him. They shot him 10 times. So, of course, the community, instead of rallying around the cops who were called there to do their job by the rest of the community who called them out, they now are saying, oh, they killed this poor, unarmed man. And then, of course, it becomes a racial issue. And then, of course, we have Gillibrand, who is one of our, Kirsten Gillibrand, I believe her name is Kristen. She's one of our United States senators from New York. And she basically came out saying how, here we go again, cops shooting another unarmed black male, blah, 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 without getting any of the facts, without understanding that it was the community that people that live there who called the cops out because this man they thought had a gun and was threatening people with it. So, I mean, it just goes to show you just how far we have fallen as a nation. It really is sad, and the best part is, if we use their logic against them, they keep saying in all of these bills that keep getting passed, everybody has to lose their firearms except for police and, except for law enforcement officers and retired LEOs. And I find that comical because they're the same people that they're complaining about killing unarmed people. So while you can't own a high capacity magazine of a semi-automatic rifle or, let's say, a handgun, it's okay for LEOs to do it, even though they're being accused by the public of killing too many people, So, I mean, if we were going to use their logic against them, even in that argument, they would lose. So that's just how I feel about it. Let's see. Who else is on here? Let's see. I'm just going to scroll back and see if you guys ask me anything. Nope. Everybody's having their own conversation. That's good. That's what it's for. That's right. There's no such thing as facts. You're absolutely correct. It's all narrative. And then Compton is saying it doesn't have anything to do with the Second Amendment anymore. This has to do with the federal courts and whether we have consistency in our fundamental law. And I will tell you right now, firsthand, we do not. I mean, I can't tell you enough how many issues I've actually had in regards to just the court system here in New York State. I mean, like I said, right now in New York State, you had to re-up your recertification for firearms. So after 5 years, you guys have to renew and basically certify all your guns with the state police department, basically a checklist of all the guns you own. And so what happened was they got so inundated with so many people were putting in all of their stuff. So the state police is officially behind. So what they do is they give you a printout of your renewal or whatever. And now in my county, Ulster County, New York, the judges have taken it upon themselves to now say they will not add any guns to your gun card in Ulster County, New York, unless you can provide them with proof that you've recertified with the state police. That sounds great, whatever, I guess. However, the problem is that the state police are so behind that they can't give you that proof. So essentially what those judges have done is they've taken a law and now they've created a secondary portion of that law without ever going through any legislature or any legislative act, and have taken it upon themselves to readjust it, not even interpret it, but to change it in its whole and just create some other new, I guess you could say, amendment to a law. And, again, there's nobody here in New York State that has, for whatever reason, no one has fought them on any of this. And it is absolutely pathetic. If any of you out there have a constitutional lawyer, I'd love for them to come and meet me in New York State because I would love to sue the crap out of Ulster County, New York. Would I win? No. And I don't have the money to hire an attorney. And I think that's what the problem is. And that's why I kind of laugh when everybody says you need to, support the NRA or even the gun owners of America are starting to tick me off because they are nowhere in this state. Everybody who's been fighting this legislation and the judicial groups in my county, none of them have ever been supported by any of these large gun groups. And I find that to be why I personally think that's why we're failing right now. I personally believe that. And then you don't have to agree with me on that. And some people get their, kind of pissed off about it. But you know what? Bottom line is I have never seen the NRA or the GOA come to New York State and try to help fight some of these ridiculous overreaches of judicial power, executive power, and legislative power. So that's how I feel about it. Pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Doug Floyd said he quit smoking for 2 years and he's able to buy more ammo. Perfect. And you're going to live longer and be healthier. So good for you, sir. Let's see. Commentary. I'm furious. I blame gun owners for so much of this. So many people do nothing to protect their rights. And he agrees with me. Well, I appreciate that, sir. And I agree with you as well. Frank Hellman is saying you need to find a good job in America. Frank, I have a very good job in America. Frank, where do you think I live, man? I know New York sometimes doesn't feel like America, but it is, I swear. Let's see. 77.6, you mentioned supporting other channels. I recommend taking a look at Guns and Gadgets, Jared's channel. He covers all 2A news. He helped organize state capitol rallies. He needs our support. Will do. I'll definitely check that out. So again, if you guys, haven't, check out Guns and Gadgets. So thanks, Mile High. Appreciate that. Second Amendment Foundation, I haven't really talked to them. We've actually been using the Sportsman and Rifleman Association up in my local neck of the woods. And again, we have started from day one trying to rally people, and we get nowhere. We get nowhere. And, this is not something that is just a random fight because I'm worried about losing my, income. This isn't my income, guys. This is my hobby. But this is about me just getting so frustrated that, sometimes it feels like you just can't win. And, I was having a conversation with my buddy KS the other night, and I was telling him, I said, when I was growing up as a kid in New York, man, there was a little bit of swagger to that, and I know some of you guys from the South probably say, oh, New York sucks, whatever. But, a long time ago when I was a kid, you went somewhere else and they asked you where you're at or where you're from. You said New York. There was a little bit of that swagger to that word, those two words, New York. And nowadays it's not, it's just gone. There's no pride in living here anymore. But, again, whatever your political viewpoints are, you could argue that it's because the state has been inundated with so many different groups of people that are so pro-Democrat agenda that it's ruined the state. And I think that's where it all went wrong. Let's see. And Honest Outlaw is agreeing that Guns and Gadgets is a great channel. So I'll definitely check that out. I've never even heard that channel, but I will definitely check that out. And I will be subscribing. I think that's a good way to, help others out. Harry saying the most effective move for New York would be to separate into 2 states. It's funny you say that because obviously that's what's been on the discussion of California with the state of Jefferson and all that other stuff. And, I think a lot of the focus in New York is that the city area and the boroughs and some of the lower counties like Westchester and Rockland are very, very powerful politically. And whereas you go a little bit further out, you're beginning to see that separation. There is definitely a different mindset from the county I live in compared to Westchester. Totally 2 different mindsets about handguns. Totally 2 different. So could that be a possibility? Maybe. And maybe it should be because states like New York, Texas, California, Pennsylvania, very large states, for having one person to control that much territory, I think is a little bit questionable. I really do, because this guy we have in office here does not speak for me at all. And he doesn't speak for a lot of my friends. And I just think that the way it is set up right now, it is just absolutely an overreach of power and just, I could sit here and piss and moan about it all day and it's not going to change because we're really just got overrun in the state. Edward is saying he bailed out of New York for many reasons, but the SAFE Act was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yep, believe me, buddy. I wish I could get out of here every day. Every day I think about it, but I just can't. I couldn't afford to, unfortunately. Let's see. Mateo is saying if just 1/3 of gun owners gave $20 to the GOA to help fight these anti-gunners, many things would be a great deal better. Yeah, Mateo, I understand what you're saying, but again, like I've said, there has been absolutely no help at all from any of these large organizations up here, and I understand that, they're concentrated maybe more in California and all these other things, but you know what? You do have to have a multi-pronged attack because let's be honest, it is not working in California. It's not. And you still have the ability to try to help New York because there's a lot of people in this state that are gun owners and are very proud of that. And, I think there's more here than there probably are in California. Thin Lips is agreeing. Now New York is a laughingstock, and you're absolutely correct, sir. It is. It is unbelievable what has happened to the state. I lived in this state of New York for 24-ish, 5 years. And then I moved out. I moved down south for about 10 years. And then I came back and I've been back like another 13 years. And from when I left to now, it is totally different. The state is just falling apart. It really is. It's shocking how horrible the state has become. Let's see. Harry is asking or saying all of your population is based in a couple of counties. I think it becomes a problem when one city controls everyone else in the entire state. And yeah, you're absolutely correct. Even if you looked at the map, even though the state fell into Hillary Clinton's hands during the presidential election, if you look at the state was almost over probably 80% red. It was just the fact that the concentrated power were in the more urban areas, which is not a surprise. Let's see. Firearms 101. Hey, y'all, take care. Got a date with this 26th tonight. Good for you, buddy. Enjoy. Enjoy shooting, man. Frank, New York, California, Rhode Island, Illinois, and Massachusetts are not in America. I'm not willing to say that, man. I'm not willing to say that. Not yet. Compton is saying the problem is this New York SAFE Act was ruled constitutional, which it clearly is not. You're right. It is not a constitutional anything. I mean, even the way it was done at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was signed off behind closed doors with no open forum or nothing. They just went ahead and did it. So you're absolutely correct. Razor JB is saying there are frauds like Mac, making it seem like he cares. Come on, all he cares about is his wallet. Gosh, boy, Razor, way to start that conversation. I wonder about that a lot. I really do. I'll be honest with you. I do wonder about that because, there's a lot of people out there that claim they're, the spokespeople for the Second Amendment. And honestly, I don't necessarily believe that that's the case in some regards, because a lot of times you never hear them say anything until it does affect their bottom line. And that's all I'll say about that. Let's see. Another thing we need to have is a social media site that is pro First Amendment. Get started. That won't straddle free speech when the liberal winds of censorship blow. I think that is true, but unfortunately, you'd have to have somebody who makes a lot of money. And let's be honest, the past 8 years were not necessarily friendly for that. You thought that with Trump coming into office, that would change, but he's been, while economically successful at this point, hopefully, I think, in regards to the Second Amendment world, he's been a major bust, which I don't think anybody should be surprised by that based on his background in New York. So everybody is saying Guns and Gadgets is an excellent channel. All right. So I'm going to definitely check that out. Commentary saying you should read the book Gunfight. It talks about the Heller decision. The lawyers who won the case were very strategic about when they brought the lawsuit against DC. I'll have to check that out too. A lot of good information. Again, a lot of good information is coming out of these chats, guys. So I appreciate everybody who gives a really good, solid amount of input. It's always appreciated. And Mateo saying you got to have clout and funding to have an effective fight. And you're absolutely correct. I think one of the things that we need to do is definitely try to find some avenue of getting that clout without being scorned by the general public, as an NRA has done. We'll see. I don't know. Ray's saying these guys care nothing until it affects them, then talks this noise and do absolutely nothing. So many out there have more respect for guys that don't say anything than frauds. Nothing wrong with that, Razor. Nothing wrong with that, man. Double Wide Texas Pride said he joined the GOA last month. Hoping it helps. I hope so. Compton is saying, would you be willing to have me on the podcast? I have way too much I need to say. Can't possibly type all of this out. Well, yeah, I'm always open to anything. I don't really care. Just private message me in YouTube and then we'll touch base and we'll talk a little bit. I want to, if I ever have anybody on, because I haven't done that, thus the flying solo, but I don't know. If you want to come on 3 guys, we can do that. You just tell me what you want to do and then we'll touch base, we'll talk, and I'll kind of, I'll feel you out not feel you up. I will feel you out in regards to what you're all about, buddy. Let's see. Mateo saying to Razor, I'm always leery of the business owner who gets vocal. Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest problem is right now you have so many people who are crying about the censorship on YouTube. But where was all this crying out months ago when it was hitting all of the smaller people? You never really heard much. And now, well, they're going to ban my channel and this and that. And okay, well, maybe maybe this wasn't meant to be made into a very profitable business. I don't know. You know, I can't blame anybody for doing it. If it's out there and you have the opportunity, then take advantage of it. Absolutely, 100%. And that's why I would never go against anybody who would necessarily, you know, take Patreon or whatever it is. But at the same time, I mean, I think you need to be practical in your life and not put all your eggs in one basket. And to ever think that YouTube was going to be your, you know, I don't know, your nest egg, I think was foolish at best. Yeah, I do have to vet people. Sorry, Terry. I definitely do. All right. Let's see. Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker. Soros and probably 24 other anti-gun, anti-American groups and individuals are pouring tens of millions into the anti-gun agenda. How do you compete when most are living paycheck to paycheck? You're absolutely correct. You know, I think you have Bloomberg who's doing it. You know, you obviously have Soros who is kind of taking a step back because there was some spotlight on him recently because of, I think it was, I think it was Hungary or maybe it was, I can't remember which European nation it was, but they were trying to, you know, say this guy was, you know, evil. I mean, he is. George Soros is evil. He's a Nazi collaborator. You know, read everything you need to read about him, but he is, in my opinion. I hope nobody here wants to say anything good about him because there's nothing good to say. Let's see. Hunters set themselves apart from us recreational gun owners. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that hunters for a while have never really looked at this as anything that's going to affect them. But I mean, let's be honest, some hunters use semi-automatic shotguns. And in Deerfield right now, you can no longer own a semi-automatic shotgun, which is, you know, again, crazy. Double Wide Texas Pride, he agrees. You just can't trust rich people unless, of course, you're a rich person. Walter, I tell everyone that the Republicans treat gun owners like the Democrats treat minorities. Tell them what they want to hear to get elected. Then once they forget them. You know what, Walter? That, my friend, is well said, sir. That'd be nice, but the fact these days that without the wealthy, you don't get your word out. That's sad. But again, SCOTUS gave us that. Yep. Let's see. How about a full automatic shotgun? Probably not able to have that either. Or do you mean a fully semi-auto? Which one is it? That's funny. That's funny stuff. So we're coming up to an hour just about, guys. And if you want to throw anything or add anything in right now, feel free to. Well, you know, we're going to be closing this up pretty soon. Like I said, just 1 hour to talk to everybody and see how everybody's doing. I know I wasn't on the last 3 Guys Gun Chat. I wasn't feeling too well. Still don't feel that great. You know, the weather up here has been crazy. We've had, you know, sun, but for example, today I was outside. My son had a lacrosse game and it was freezing cold, man. It's like April already, and we have not gotten anything like above 40 degrees. So I'm so sick of the weather, man. We had snow the other day again. I think it's supposed to be freezing cold tomorrow, and I think next week it's going to warm up. So thank God, man, because it's been weighing on us. Hey, Ball and Curious, thanks for that thumbs down, man. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll have at least 3 before it's over. Carry my revolver, he's saying, it's time we start stippling and putting red dots on muskets. Yeah, I think we're going to have to. Absolutely. I wonder if we can bump fire a musket. Is that possible? Oh, wait, no, it's not. Single shot. Never mind. That'll be the next thing. Well, you know, they'll ban muskets because they're too loud. Unbelievable. Music, I agree. Supreme Court avoids them like the plague. Atomic Bulls, do we the Second Amendment, or do we have a set of gun laws that differ by zip code? You know, that's a great point, Atomic Bulls. I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, it is the right of a state to determine how they want to use that those sets of laws. So you have the difference between states' rights and, of course, federal rights. You know, and yes, the federal does trump the state. So again, could that be argued in court? Sure, if they would listen to it, but they never do. Common saying we are heading for a crisis point with respect to the Constitution. I agree. And that's why if you hear anybody in your state rumbling, talking about opening up a constitutional convention, vote no, because that's how they're going to try to take over, man, in my opinion. All right, folks, it is now 5:29. So just a couple of things I'm going to be doing in the next couple of days. I'm going to be doing an Olight video. Woohoo! Another Olight video. And this is on this baton. Ooh, shit. It's on this baton thing right here. The S2R rechargeable baton. I've been carrying this around for a week, man. This thing is ridiculous. It's like carrying I don't know, a light, like it's like carrying the sun in your pocket. That's how bright this damn light is. So it's pretty cool. I was very impressed with it. And I'm going to do a couple more things. Like I said, I just installed the Apex trigger onto the Shield, and it definitely makes the trigger feel a lot better. I think I'm going to do a comparison between some of my favorite guns, and I'm going to do a video on this little guy right here. I love this gun, the FD 4.25 M&P, just fantastic, man. Anyway, you know, if you guys know of anybody who wants to subscribe to my channel, I am trying to hit the 5,000 mark. I'm not going to beg for subscribers, but please, please subscribe. Just kidding. So yeah, I'm almost to 5,000. It's taken me a long time to get there because I don't really do a lot of giveaways. I don't really do any giveaways, to be honest with you. And I'm just hoping, like, you know, people spread the word. I think it's a good channel. And sorry, music. No, that's not happening. So, guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, rally your community around this idea that it isn't about guns. It's about our rights. And it's about, we're not being criminals. We're normal, average people who enjoy firearms. And until we get that message clearly out, we're going to be looked upon as animals and crazies and all this other stuff. And I just need to stop, or we need to stop that crap, because we're better than that. And I think we can all say that safely. So again, you know, stay safe out there as always. I hope you guys have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And always, guys, freedom, you guys know it. It ain't free.